Hey, what's up, guys? Mike Patrick. In this video, I want to come with a very thought-provoking topic, okay? I want to come with a topic that's going to really get us thinking about our lives and our potential, okay? And how we could be holding ourselves back as far as maximizing more or at least using more of our potential and our brain capacity, okay? Now, I was thinking about how when I was coming up, I used to have a hard time, or seemingly I used to have a hard time in school, trying to grasp and memorize, say, I guess you could say different formulas. I say it was algebra, geometry, whatever have you, schools of math that require you to memorize formulas and use formulas and things of that nature. Now, it's not rocket science why I had a hard time remembering those things. I didn't study them. They didn't interest me. I didn't see the point, so I didn't study them. Um, I understood the point of adding, subtracting. You need to know how to do those things. You need to know how to count, multiply, divide, basic math. But I didn't really see the point in, you know, math further than that unless you were doing, you were in a specific field that required that. And so it just didn't interest me. And I know a lot of people have been in that position. And there's a lot of people that's currently in that position now when they go to school. Okay? And I think about, though, how I was so capable of actually doing it and mastering it, but I just didn't because I wasn't interested in it. And then I was thinking about how, man, if I would have put the same effort into recalling and remembering and practicing different formulas for geometry or algebra and things like that, then I could have been a straight A student in those particular classes, okay, every semester for 12 years of school. But like I said, I wasn't interested in it, so I didn't practice it, I didn't study it. I could probably count on my hands, on both of my hands, how many times I actually, in 12 years of school, how many times I've actually did homework, like went home and did my homework. I was the kind of person who used to do his homework right before a particular class and things like that on the bus or whatnot. So I just wasn't very interested, guys. But the thing about it, I was thinking about things that I was interested in and how I wouldn't even say it was brilliance in how I could retain information if it was something that I was interested in. But I think a lot of people, your average person, is capable of so much more mentally and when we in our brain capacity as far as what we can learn and what we can remember and apply. Because I remember growing up, but I could sit here and recite a song, okay? My favorite rappers, I can sit here and recite practically all of their songs. And I liked a lot of rappers growing up. It's still to this day. There are songs that I learned when I was, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old that I could remember from front to back, from beginning to end, the whole song, okay? And so that's literally probably hundreds of songs. If I sat back and thought about it, there's probably literally hundreds of songs that I know word for word or know, you know, a substantial amount of the song and the words. But see, that's irrelevant, right? How can that benefit me? How can that information benefit me? How could me knowing the words to a bunch of songs benefit me? They can't. Okay, they can't. And the thing about it is, a lot of us spend too much time memorizing and consuming too much information that can't benefit us at all, okay? That's why with my channel, I always try to reiterate, I'm trying to always be talking about something that can actually help people, things that people can actually apply to their life to add quality to their life. You know, I don't, even if I get up here and talk about news, or if I give my thoughts on something, I always try to tie something in, because even if I'm just expressing my thoughts, I'm doing that for someone to be able to see a point of view So therefore, somehow, some way, maybe that point of view, once it's once it's put on the table for somebody, maybe they can use the information to somehow apply it to their life, okay? But not just information just for the sake of entertainment, okay? Now think about growing up, or think about if you're growing up right now, or just think about in your life if you're an adult and you have this habit, which most do, where you're consuming way too much information that is irrelevant, okay? And you're not maximizing your potential, because for every 100 songs I know, right, that could have been some other information that I could have been using that brain space for, okay? For every for example, this is a big one, growing up, sports, right? I could sit here and tell you now, while I didn't want to, I wouldn't study for a test, right? A history test or a science test and things like that. I wasn't interested in retaining that information. But I guarantee you, the next day in school, if I got around my boys or something like that, I could sit there and talk to them all day and remember, how many yards. I'm gonna just throw somebody out there for example. If Michael Vick had a Thursday night football game, I can go to school on Friday and tell you how many attempts he had. I could tell you how many completions he had, how many yards he ran for, how many yards he threw for, if he threw an interception, how many touchdowns. I could tell you, what was his favorite ice cream when he was when he was 7 years old. I could tell you, I could recite any rap song or anything like that. I could tell you what happened last night on a certain reality show, a TV show, anything like that at the time. Just all this useless information at the end of the day. Now, we all have the right and should be able to entertain ourselves and do things that we enjoy, but then we even got to question, why do we enjoy what we enjoy? Why do we consider what we like as entertainment to be entertainment? You know what I mean? So, like, there's people who are entertained by reading a book. You see what I mean? But then there's some people who wouldn't read a page in a book to save their life, but they're entertained by maybe just watching something on TV. So, it's about what's the pedigree, okay? What's the foundation that is enabling people to acquire so much information that's irrelevant, okay? And so I was also talking to that to my children about this particular topic, okay? And it was very important. I think that's something that's extremely important for us to talk to our youth about, and even start working on for yourself. It's never too late, okay? So try to wash out all the stuff as much as possible that's irrelevant, okay? That can't add any real value to your life, okay? Like I said, I grew up listening to too much music and can tell you word for word somebody's song, but at half the time it was content, and it was just garbage content anyway. So at least if you're gonna listen to music all the time and be able to learn people's song, at least let it be messages that are positive and good messages, okay? But a lot of that stuff I was retaining was, gangster music, talking about, womanizing, violence, drugs, guns, and we already know what comes with all that. I did a lot of overconsumption of watching sports, and I could tell you every player, and we all know these people, we may very well be one of them. It's a cultural thing. I could tell you every team in the NFL and NBA. I could tell you their 1 to 50 man roster. If it was football, I could tell you every man on the basketball roster of every team in the NBA, and I could tell you everybody's stats, what college they played for, what high school they played for, just all this senseless information that couldn't benefit me at all, And then once you do that, then a lot of times we spend a whole lot of time pretty much now, just releasing this information out, because that's all pretty much we have in us. So then what we do, we waste a lot of time and energy. What happens? We get around each other, we argue a lot, we talk a lot about sports and who's better and whose team is better, and and what players are better, and who's good and who's not good, and all these different things that don't really matter, that don't really matter. Okay, guys? So let's imagine if we spent more time learning about, you know, innovation, math, science, learning about ourselves, learning alternative history or different history, or even traditional history, but just going deeper into it so you could really understand the world that we live in. What if we consume more information about our bodies and how our body works, okay? And health and fitness and diet and all these different things. I think it'll be very, very beneficial. It's just something for us to think about, because again, these are one of those things that I don't think anybody sit back and say, I am consuming way too much irrelevant information, but it's just something that we fall into. Sometimes it's cultural and things like that. But once we start bringing these things to the forefront, we can change it. Peace.